All right, season 11 tournament, here we go. So for this defense, really, as long as you survive their turn 1, you're pretty much fine. It could have been a little bit scary there if the defense pick landed on Velgil, but Remind is fire pretty tanky, and so hopefully we would have tanked it out. He is 100 res though, so I mean, it was a good chance it was going to happen if that wasn't a 85 accuracy Cichlid. But from here, it's pretty much won. You could definitely still lose if they're able to strip and defense break with the Tian lane. That's why I'm going for the Tian lane second. But other than that, it's pretty much won from here. You have so much mitigation. I could definitely tell that this was an additional damage Tian lane because it was hitting pretty hard on my Fang. But then again, he has a high defense. Now this defense is kind of spooky if you're doing turn 2. You could definitely turn 1 this pretty easily if you have the Swift and everything, but if you're not too sure how to contest turn 1, doing anything turn 2 is ultimately super scary. You could probably try some kind of revive team and maybe get a better chance of success, but otherwise you're really just trying to do your best to survive. So in this case, we have 2 really tanky bruisers and then a Triana. We have a couple safety features. I didn't run a Nemesis, Commune, or Royd. I think I might have considered it, but I felt like I wanted to just roll into efficiency here. A lot of this is, if you can tank it out, it's not as scary, but otherwise, turn 2 is a little bit spooky versus his defense, as we'll see going here in the other hits. This defense seems pretty spooky, but it's also pretty straightforward. As long as you know what you can lose to, it's not that bad. So obviously here, the only defense breaker is Savannah. But because the only defense breaker is Savannah, and they kind of know that, oh, someone can just bring high defense, there was a good chance there was some high attack Savannahs to try to trap some of these offenses that didn't have enough defense. Sometimes they might go for efficiency and do like high defense still, but also really high HP. But in this case, you also just really want to spec into like triple defense on 2-4-6, stuff like that, and just maximize your defense potential, because even if you have defense lead and you're running really high defense, an attack Savannah can still defense break you, because you got to remember there's only one defense tower, like one defense arena tower, but there are 2 attack towers. So Savannah is ultimately going to scale higher. How much higher? It depends on the scaling and the rune quality. Obviously, if you have really good defense runes, you will have no problem tanking out a high attack Savannah, and that build is pretty much dead. But otherwise, if you can't make high defense builds, and the high attack Savannahs will get you here. But otherwise, it's pretty safe. We got a Camilla and a Fingyan, so it was pretty much good from here. Now, here's some pretty cool tech. A little bit of a flash from a past, because it's a chilling Galucia offense, but this time, instead of Lauren, it's Ikaru. So the way these kind of offenses work, this almost seems like a tournament offense, I think. You're kind of just controlling the defense without cycling potential and crowd control. So the way this is working, Chilling is going to go do his thing. Although in this case, I was doing a little bit of thinking, because they had shield, I was thinking I should probably S1 the Martina instead of Shaina. So that's why I'm like thinking right here, I should probably S1 the Martina, because I don't want to risk it when I do the team up that shield ends up eating a strip and I don't strip the will, because we really need to strip that will. But yeah, this is like a turn 1 offense. You need to play a specific way. There's a lot of pausing I'm doing because I'm thinking ahead, because you got to keep in mind there's a slow debuff, there's speed buff on your side, so you have good outcycle potential, and at that same time you need to think about what the next turns are, where you're going to be using your Lucio crowd control, where you're going to be using her S2. You might use your S2 as an attack bar boost to remove defense break. There's a lot to think about, and of course just procs that you can't be prepared for. Inevitably, it could happen, like Martina procs out, other days go crazy. I mean, I've lost before from Martina getting violent 3 times in a row on some MST defenses, so it's not impossible. But otherwise, I feel like if you play this correctly and you build the team properly, it works out most of the time compared to other offenses that might have a little bit of more shakiness, especially if you do turn 2 versus something like this. But otherwise, it's a pretty interesting offense. It's a good format going forward versus defenses like this. When you know that there's not a speed buff, or speed lead, I'm sorry, excuse me. That's kind of a good sign that you should probably look for a lead as your your outspeeding potential, because if you don't have the Swift to do it without a speed lead, you got to look kind of elsewhere. But otherwise, yeah, we hit this defense quite a bit, and kind of glad I made Ikaru last season. That way I could do this offense. And going into this defense again, Martina, Shaina, Hollyberry. So not much different here. Obviously we didn't get a proc first turn hard chilling, so we just went straight for a standard strat. But in this case, you have a little bit of breathing room and a little bit of choices you can make here. It's really good to steal the Manon's buffs, because one, I think this is good, just goes for like any Manon, Hollyberry, Water Hollyberry defense. If you're able to steal that defense buff, you're getting a lot of damage mitigation, because that defense buff is like an attack buff for her. So if you remove that, you're removing a lot of her damage dealt. So that's kind of what I was going for here, and I believe that's what I end up going for. So other than that, the play is pretty much the same. Once you start getting control down, it's just all about thinking ahead. So I think we should be good from here. And this third hit pretty much proves that I made Trikaru. So, hey, if you think Trikaru is just for dungeons, no, we're using them in Siege now. So there's just like it feels like I super prepared ahead, even though I didn't even prepare for it. But it was just cool to be able to use all three of my Ikarus. And actually, I didn't even have to 2-8 anything this tournament, because I already had it 2-8. So, very thankful for that. It's pretty much the same gameplay right here. Doing the same old steal those buffs, gimme. Obviously, I think the biggest loss condition is just procs. Really, it's. I know it's like a thing where the defensive round procs, I lose, but there's a lot you can really do here to mitigate that if you just play it well. But otherwise, I think we got it locked down here. Just a lot of thinking ahead. Ooh, that S2 is not good though. And a little peek of the builds here for this Commune Roid Triana offense. I made a pretty thick Roid. Usually if I can turn to something with like bruiser wounds, I can usually build it pretty well because that's just how my account is, because I spent, what, years in DB12, although I need to go back to Giants. But other than that, definitely could still be spooky. I mean, again, this is turn 2 versus a literal dice roll, so yeah, there's not much to it here. But I mean, if you survive turn 1, I mean, look at my crit damage coming. Look at this. Oh wait, I don't have S2. Oh, never mind, I do have S2. Well, if never mind, 36 hit, yeah. So the crit damage coming would have just wailed. So it's like, if I survive turn 1, I just go and bop them back. So, but yeah, RNG just was on my side today for the siege. And going into this defense once again, although we're using Xingzhe instead of Feng Yan, and we're using Rina instead of Camilla, you're still fairly tanky. Xingzhe is one of the tankier wind bruisers in the game. You got that 35% damage reduction, and I think I was running a 24% minus damage from wind as well. So if he did get redirected from the Savannah, I think he would have been fine. But another thing to keep in mind when you have an offense like this, you see how the defense break is on the Rina? As long as there's a defense break on the Rina, the retargeting is going to be kind of unlikely. That's kind of a good thing about some of these offenses. If you can abuse the AI and just leave a defense break on your tank, in addition to the elemental advantage that the Savannah has, and you're a little bit safer if you're not running a high defense Riley. So like in this case, there's a really good chance that Savannah could have high attack. So in my mind, running a high defense Riley didn't seem worth it, and instead I kind of built her to anticipate that she might get defense broken and then potentially survive that. But other than that, because the Rina is eating up the AI, I don't think that really happens. So we got off pretty well here. And this is our last time hitting the Mihyang Monte Cichlid. This is a little bit spooky. 1, 2, 3. But look at this. Proc saved me. I think the Mihyang would have gone on the Roid, but hey, he tanked it. I built it that way, so hey, we take it. Hey, gimme. Now this is a kind of a fun turn 1 comp. I actually deviled my Varad for this, so I can actually use my Varad in other content now with not being skilled up anymore. But, I mean, this is kind of a... not too YOLO. There are definitely ac-res checks here, but there are multiple of them. So if one misses, there's a chance that another one will land, and that's good safety. But otherwise, you got pretty good crowd control here. I believe my Varad missed something here. What did he miss? He missed the pushback. Yeah, that's a pretty important one. We do land the bomb, thankfully. And then she goes, procs out, and we're like, uh-oh, is this it? But then Tiana S2s, they get really low, and then watch this. I could have just S1'd and just kept going, but look at this. We had to go for style points. Check this out. Surf's up, let's go. So that was kind of fun. Usually you don't S2 like that in Siege, so it was kind of funny. But yeah, that's it.